It has been a couple of days since the LG Cup controversy took the Go world by surprise and storm. Today we're taking a light-hearted view of this whole situation. If you guys don't know, I think the LG Cup lid rule is totally ridiculous. I have never seen a more ridiculous situation. The LG Cup lid rule is where you have to place all your captured stones inside the lid. As opposed to be on the table, besides the lid, can't be anywhere else, it has to be inside. And the LG Cup finals ended, two of the games ended when the referees disqualified Ke Jie. So today I have made a PowerPoint and summarized 8 different scenarios. Please let me know which ones are your favorite, which one is most like the LG Cup lid rule, which one is most ridiculous. Leave a comment, subscribe, and a like. LG Cup lid rule 2.0 with laughs. So pick your favorite. The first set of 4 scenarios are Go competition scenarios. The second set of 4 occurs when other sports get their inspiration from the LG Cup referees. Again, remember to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. First one is Japanese opponent in the LG Cup 2026. And so in LG Cup 2026, the Korean player goes up against a Japanese player. If you guys do not know, Japan has the same custom, the same etiquette of placing captured stones inside the lid. In fact, this is very likely that the Japanese passed this custom on to Korea, so Korea probably didn't invent this custom. Now, when the Korean player lost to his Japanese opponent, his whining was that the pile of prisoners inside the lid made it very difficult for him to count the number of prisoners inside the lid. He said, "There were 2 layers of dead stones. I would have won if I knew there was a second layer." He only saw 1 layer, so he thought he was well ahead. He played safe and he lost. "Don't worry, we'll win," said the Korea Baduk Association. And a few days after, they implemented the no-lid rule, where the prisoners cannot be put inside the lid because a big pile is very difficult to count. Instead, they need to be put into 2x5 rectangular blocks because that's the way that makes it easier to count. Again, because it was so unfair to the Korean players. And so during the finals, Ichiriki Ryo was disqualified after carelessly throwing 2 captured stones into his lid. The referees jumped in and vigorously enforced the no-lids rule, and Korea once again won the LG Cup championships. However, this time no one was surprised. And on Baduk TV, they took the liberties to outline and really circle in red the offense right over here. All right, a second scenario. This was an alternate universe in the 2026 AlphaGo match. If you guys do not know, the AlphaGo match was the most watched Go match in history. It was the first time that an AI beat out the world champion Go players. And in this picture, this is Lisa Do. Lisa Do was a human player. AlphaGo was the AI player. And this guy here, this guy is Ajia Huang, the father of AlphaGo, the lead programmer of AlphaGo. He played the Go stones for AlphaGo. AlphaGo is in the back. You can see here on the screen. AlphaGo would play on the screen, and Ajia Huang would relay the match onto the real board. "We figured out its weakness," this other guy said to Lisa Do. Okay, so in this alternate universe, Ajia Huang and the DeepMind team accepted the Korean Baduk Association's request to use Korean rules for the match. If you guys don't know, the actual match used Chinese rules upon, through the request of the DeepMind team and Ajia Huang. So in this alternate universe, after losing the top 2 matches and coming up with a 50-point plus deficit in Game 3, Lee Sedol really got AlphaGo played really well in Game 3, and that was the most lopsided game of the 5-game series. So, when Lee Sedol was losing very, very badly, the Korean referees stepped in, and when Ajia Huang placed 2 prisoners beside the lid instead of inside the lid, they stepped in and awarded the match to the human because they were using the Korean set of rules, the ridiculous set of rules. And finally, finding the key strategy to defeat the almighty AlphaGo, all Koreans rejoiced and danced in the streets. Lee Sedol, however, he had a sense of shame that they didn't have, and so in Game 4, before he played his famous move 78, that wedge that confused the AI, the best move, the move of God, he had a sense of shame, and he could not get the Game 3 out of his mind, and when he saw the referees coming into the room, to presumably talk about the rules and do some kind of a ruling, he had enough and he resigned. So, in this alternate universe, we did not get to see any humans fighting back against the AI, but the Korean Baduk Association collected the $1 million prize, which was put for the winner of this 5-set match. He had enough with these scumbags. Okay, these 2 are hypothetical Go matches, which are very, very close to the actuality. So hopefully they score high there, and the ridiculousness is mediocre. So let's look at the next one. The Korean Christian Association holds a Go World Championship Go tournament after the LG company stopped sponsoring the LG Cup. And they, because it is a very nice Christian custom, they instituted the prayer before match rule to thank God for the wonderful game of Go, the wonderful sponsorships, the wonderful game that we play. Okay, sounds all pretty reasonable, and the gist, seems pretty fair. They're sponsoring this. There's the Christian, Bible Association, so it seems reasonable. So what happened here was, so this prayer rule is very similar to, thanking God for the food we eat, which is commonplace in many, many American households and European households. So, after installing the prayer rule before the match, both players, take 1 minute to say thanks, and then they begin their ultimate, finals match. This finals was set to be an epic showdown, and however, unfortunately, the match ended before it began, when during the mandatory prayer minute session, the foreign player opened his eyes, which was a blatant disrespect to God, and the referees had no choice but to step in, and because both of his eyes opened, they had no choice but to see this as 2 offenses. Therefore, the Korean player was awarded the game and declared champion. So this is a very similar case of taking our own customs, our tradition, and then applying it into the match in a very, very disproportionate fashion. And in this one, we did not even get to see the match. Yes, again, this came out from a perfectly polite, reasonable, fine gesture, but once the Korean Baduk Association, or in this case, the Korean Christian Association took over and got involved. Things started turning to the bad side. Okay, and for our last but not least, the fourth Go competition scenario, we have the following. First contact with SETI. This one is my personal favorite. Let me guys know. So it is often said that one of the beauties of Go is how simple its rules are. You only need one rule, and everything else basically builds up from this. And it's a very, very beautiful thing to have the least rule, the game with the least number of rules produce a game of the biggest complexity that we have as humans. So it's very, very nice. So it is often said that alien civilizations will not invent chess because they may not have kings, queens, bishops, rooks, and so on, but they will likely invent Go due to the simplistic beauty, the lack of rules. You only need basically 1 to 2 rules, and you can start playing the game from there. So like mathematics, Go is seen as an important tool used as a candidate used for first contact. So imagine if NASA first existed in China, for example. Go would definitely be used, something similar to like a string of prime numbers, for example, to send over to the aliens. We'll send over a Go board with a Go SGF file, and then they would decode it, and it'll be very simple, and it'll be very, very nice. Very, very good for peaceful first contact. So in this fictional scenario, after Spock arrived on Earth and showed himself, Spock from Star Trek, a Go match was arranged, and Korea lobbied strongly for their representative and for the Korean rules to be used. Now, so when Spock, the alien representative, he failed to put captured stones inside the lid of the bowl, Korean referees stepped in, and after a 2-hour communication, declared the match for the humans. And because we did not know the languages, a helicopter was sent to relay the message to the alien mothership, and it was not well received. And this Star Trek episode scenario turned into the Independence Day scenario. Don't worry, you guys will know. So here in this picture, this is Spock stepping down from his spaceship. And here is a scene from Independence Day. Don't worry, I will explain. This is the first contact scenario. Yeah. That's Spock. This is how Americans envisioned first contact to look. And what better way is it than to play with the first contact aliens a game of Go, which they just happened to also have a game that was very, very similar to, which was very, very nice. Okay. All right. So after this meeting, we arranged the Go match, lobbied for the Korean rules, and afterwards they sent this helicopter out to relay the message to the aliens that the humans won. And of course it was not well received.
They're responding.
Something's opening.
Something's happening.
It looks like there's some kind of activity here. This may be some type of response, Echo 1. We see it too. Can't identify it.
All right. Let's watch a little bit before when they were giving the aliens a message. Here is them giving the aliens a message. Yes.
Wagon has must commence.
Yes.
General Gray, coordinate with the
Two offenses. And that's what really ticked off the interstellar war. Okay. Okay. All right. That one is my personal favorite. It's very dangerous, as you can see in this fictional scenario, to implement the lid rule, which is a very, very bad rule. Okay. Okay. Anyways. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Next, we have a few more rules scenarios. Again, also fictional. This time, when other sports take their inspiration from the LG Cup lids rule. 2025 NBA Finals. So game 3 of the NBA Finals 2025 ended abruptly 2 minutes and 18 seconds in the first quarter when the away team was assessed the second foul of the game, and the game was awarded to the home team, LA Lakers. It was very clear, said referee McRules, pointing to the instant replay. After scoring a layup, LeBron James clearly handed the ball directly over to the opposing player instead of handing it to the referee first, and this caused the team's second and game-ending foul. If you guys do not know basketball, the proper rules is after an out-of-bounds play or the play ends, whoever has the ball gives the ball to the referee. The referee gives the ball to whichever team is supposed to start the next point, and then the game continues. So in this one, taking inspiration from the Korean LG Cup lid rule, the NBA updated its rulebook with proportionate punishment for in the same proportions. And so after the second foul committed by giving the ball directly to the opposing team, instead of giving it to the referee first, the match, the game 3 ended 2 minutes and 18 seconds in the first round. So hope you guys see the parallels here. And another interview with the head coach of the Lakers. He gave the ball with so much sweat still on it that makes the ball so slippery, and it was so unfair. I'm so happy we added this rule, exclaimed Lakers coach Wieners. Alright, so if the NBA takes a rule like the LG Cup lid rule and implements it into NBA games, this kind of ridiculous things would happen. Let me know if this one is more or less ridiculous than the LG Cup lid rule. Secondly, we go to the sports of tennis. And here, the US Open Rules Committee takes inspiration from the LG Cup lids rule. So a little bit of a background in the big open tournaments in tennis. Players generally hold 2 or more balls on serve, because in tennis you can serve twice. The first time you do not have to serve the ball in, the second time you do, or else you lose a point. Okay, so 1 in the hand and 1 in their pocket. And so in this 2025 US Open tennis tournament, it welcomed its first Korean finalist, and the 2025 US Open was the most highly anticipated match in Korea history. The match, however, was heavily favored for the other finalist, Rafael Nadal, who held a 6-0 historical head-to-head record against the Korean player. Not to worry, said the Korean coaching team. This time, the Korean coaching team found an ingenious tactic. They lobbied and passed the new rule before the match, and the match got started with the rule in effect, with plenty of warnings to all the other players and stuff. And no one expected that Nadal's trademark tight shorts would do him in. He was first assessed a 2-game penalty after a ball slipped out of his pocket and onto the ground. If you guys do not know, the tennis finals in the US Open consists of 5 sets, and each set consists of 2 games, games up to 6 games. And if it's tied after 6 and 6, it goes to tie breaks. So 2-game penalties basically awards a player 1 set, or has a very strong. The player would have a strong chance to win 1 set. Okay, when this happened again in the next point, the match was declared forfeit, and Korea wins. So Nadal's characteristic tight shorts, because it squeezed the tennis balls out of his pockets so much, lost him the match, and the match ended 45 minutes into the match. Here's a look at the ball pockets, and here's a look at the trademark tight shorts that Nadal wears. You can see here that the Korean team really designed a very, very strong strategy to go after their opponent's biggest weaknesses, the affinity to wear tight shorts. Yes. And here, here we can see what happens. Sometimes the balls get out of the pocket, and when they go lie around the ground, it's very, very bad. And usually, these balls are cleared out. In this case, because Nadal had a few balls go out of his pockets due to how thick and strong his legs are and how tight his shorts are. When the second time the ball fell out of his pocket, the referees declared the match for the Korean player. And here again, a trademark red circle to indicate the offense. No one expected this. Very, very ridiculous indeed. And next, we have the FIDE World Chess Championships, played by Magnus Carlsen, making his big return to the chess world. Now, Magnus Carlsen, the #1 chess player in the world, he thinks he has seen it all, but wait until he plays chess in Korea. There's a very good famous story where Magnus was once excluded from a tournament after showing up wearing jeans, when the referees really expressed their distaste and disdain, and really asked him demanded that he wear a very nice suit. So he's no stranger to this kind of thing, and so when the World Chess Championships came to Korea, Magnus made sure to dress the part in a very nice suit. An hour into the match, however, the referees stopped the clock and explained that in Korea, suits needs to have all the buttons buttoned. "We don't button the bottom button. That's not the way," he complained. To no avail, of course. And later on, he said when it was clear that the referees were not going to give way, he complained, "You didn't invent suits. You are not the inventor of suits. How can you force me, whose ancestors invented the suit, to do as you do? No, why do you make me button the bottom button? That's not how we do that. That's not how we do it in the West. That's not how we do in Europe and America. Why in Korea do you make everyone? You can button the bottom button. That's okay. But why do you make everyone else do it? That's just way too much." He complained again and again, but of course to no avail. When the match got intense and he unbuttoned all the buttons to let in some air, a second time the referees jumped in and of course declared his opponent the winner. The rules was very, very clear, as they said. It was written down and clearly communicated to Magnus. And they said because Magnus has a long history of wearing very, very unfit clothing to his chess tournaments, we are just doing what's right. Here you can see Magnus holding his head. This was before when he had the jeans, and here this is a big no-no in the chess championship with the button unbuttoned, and this is how you're supposed to do it, and this is how the Korean player did it. This is how the Korean refs told him to wear his suit. Both buttons are buttoned. And of course, when he unbuttoned both of his buttons, when he's sitting down, that was all over. The match was totally declared for his opponent. A little ridiculous, is that? Yes, a little bit ridiculous. Okay, and finally, we have the 2034 World Cup football/soccer. Now, if you guys do not know, in football/soccer, the players have a very big dilemma. Sometimes they tuck their shirts in, sometimes they let their shirts out and untucked. Here you can see two examples. So Korea displayed a strong showing during the 2002 World Cup when Korea and Japan co-hosted the World Cup at the time. So much was anticipated when they hosted the biggest sporting event in the world again in 2034 World Cup. This time, however, in the group stages, if you guys do not know, there are 3 games in the group stages. This time, after the first 2 games, Korea only managed a draw and a loss in the group stage. So there is 1 game left, and it's a must-win game. And not only do they have to win the game, they had to win the game by 4 goal differentials or more, which means winning the game 4-0, 5-1, 6-2, something like that. And the Korean soccer fans were very, very worried. But not to worry, a new shirt tuck-in rule was added before the match, and at 17 minutes in, a penalty kick was given due to 8 opposing players all having their jerseys untucked inside the penalty box. So the opposing team had their shirts like this, and they were inside the penalty box, so the referee awarded this to the Korean side, a penalty kick. If you guys don't know, soccer matches, football matches often end 1-0, 2-0, 3-2, something like that, and a penalty kick gives you a very high chance, 70-80%, of scoring a point, a goal. Okay, so that was not the end of the match. Afterwards, Korea got to the top, and at the 28th minute, when 5 more opposing players had their shirts untucked, the referee had no choice but to step in and to give them their second yellow cards of the match, and he sent off the 5 opposing players. When they got their second yellow cards, turning into a red card, which is an automatic send-off. And the Korean stand erupted in celebration, and they looked at 6 remaining players on the opposing team having to contend with an 11-person Korea team at the 28th minute. A football match lasts 90 minutes. So this one particular one is my favorite out of the second bunch. Let me know which scenario was your favorite. LG Cup Lid Rule 2.0. Hope you guys had some laughs And we just to go over this briefly, if the Koreans went up against the Japanese opponent, they're very likely to institute a no lids rule because, and when the Korean players, when the Japanese player with their customary, tradition and their habit of putting the stones inside the lid, when they did it, the Korean ref would step in, intervene, and award the match to the Korean player as everyone expected. And of course, now the Koreans have finally figured out how to beat AlphaGo, AI without hands, and clearly even if you give the AI AlphaGo some hands, like a robotic arm, all they would have to do is place the lid not where the cup used to be, and AlphaGo puts the dead stones on the table, and that's how they can win the match. This was one of the funniest jokes I have heard, and here we have put forth a scenario just like that. The Christian pray before the match scenario was very, very funny. When I heard someone mention this, I really laughed out loud. He opened his eyes during the prayer ceremony before the match. Blatant respect. And this one I thought of myself as a first contact with SETI. It is sad because beforehand Go really was, it was really a thing when people said, it would be nice to, we can talk mathematics with the aliens, but it would really be nice if we could play a match with them. That would really, help with, some peace, to make sure that there's peace when we contact aliens. And here in this regard, chess is disregarded because of how dependent on on human history chess is, with all of its lots and lots of rules. All the pieces move differently and so on, and things like that. And with castling rules, en passant pawn rules, things like that. So Go was really, really looked forward to, and actually looked forward to as a potential tool to help us communicate in this first contact scenario. Of course, needless to say, the contact scenarios would not be as high up on the list if we added a bunch of new rules, like we have to put the dead stones prisoners into the lid kind of rules and things like that. Needless to say, that would be a great dampener in terms of making Go a good candidate to use. If we added the lid rule, for example, there's no way we're gonna use this as a first contact scenario. Okay, NBA Finals is a statement on the lids rule. It's a very, very disproportionate rule because it's the punishment is greatly exaggerated from the crime. And in the NBA, in the NFL, there are plenty of rules, but all the rules have a very good feature, which is the rules fit the crime. There's no excessive punishment. The rules do not make the game end at 2 minutes and 18 seconds into the first quarter when the opponents commit 2 fouls and fouls by giving your opponent sweaty basketballs. Okay, good. And the US Open tennis is again the same thing. It is heavily disproportionate, and this one we brought up Rafael Nadal with a 6-0 personal historical record, and he does wear very tight shorts. Yeah. So proportionate, it's a similar disproportionate ruling. I think this one's good. The buttoning buttons is another good one here because Korea didn't invent suits. Korea also didn't invent Go the game, and Go the game was invented in China 4,000 years ago, and today, Chinese players comprise of 90% of the Go playing population, and so the Korean Go Association is going to put out a rule expressly against the habits of 90% of the world's Go population, Go playing people, and and tell them what is custom and what is not custom, what's polite and not polite. It's one thing if they invented Korean kimchi or something like that, right? But it's a whole other thing when you didn't even invent the game and you're making a custom into a rule, and you're punishing, you're making it against the majority of Go players, you're making it against the inventor of the game, the creators of the game, and it's just, it's very, very bad. It's very uninclusive. Go already has a difficult enough time spreading in the Western world, the rest of the world, and they start making rules like this. This is just crazy. It's very, very terrible for the game. Okay, and again, the last one, football, excessive punishment. This one is very, very. This one is another one that just shows how ridiculous it is. And in football, because one call for the penalty box and one red card, one double yellow card matters a lot to the game, to the balance of the game. There has been lots and lots, and because one goal really matters in the match, there has always been in history lots and lots of complaints about the referee was unfair and things like that. And so of course taking the Korean LG Cup lids rule into this, we gave you a very nice scenario here. I thought this one was probably fairly ridiculous, if not. Anyways, so let me know, guys, which one is your favorite. Again, we had 4 Go playing scenarios and then 4 other sports playing scenarios. Which ones were your favorite? Which ones were most ridiculous? Which one is most similar to the LG Cup lids rule? And let me know, subscribe, leave a comment, and like. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Some of these scenarios belong to The Onion. If you guys know anyone in The Onion, let them know to do a story on this. They may even just do the true story because it sounds ridiculous enough. Anyways, let me know your favorite ones, and thank you. And let's look at this in a fun light and have some laughs, hopefully. Okay, see you guys in the next one.